Hey guys, I just thought I'd do a quick little tutorial on how I blend colors when I paint. I'm probably going to speed my voice up a little bit. It's hard to sync it with the video. Trying something new where I record first and voiceover, so bear with me. Regardless whether I'm doing a very detailed painting or something more simple like this little rat cartoon, I use the same technique. A friend of mine requested this a while back, and I can't remember if it was my friend Sarah or if it was Heidi. It might have been both of them. Sorry guys, I forget which one of you it was. Anyway, this is for you. Also, I had a comment over on BitChute on my Area 51 cat video from someone, and they commented suggesting that I stop using the airbrush tool. This kind of threw me for a loop because, well, I know they were just trying to be helpful, and I mean, that's awesome, thank you. But I've literally never used the airbrush tool in all the years I've been doing Photoshop, as far as I can remember anyway. Possibly back in the early 2000s when I started out, maybe, but either way, most of the time I've been using Photoshop, I always have preferred to use the hard round brush tool most of the time. I'll rarely use the soft brush to add a flush of color, but mostly I'll use the hard round brush. And sometimes I'll also use some custom brushes for certain things, like I have a brush to make freckles, and I have some certain skin brushes for texture and stuff like that. But for the base painting, I'm always using a hard round brush. Anyway, yeah, so that kind of threw me, but also keep in mind a lot of my videos are actually sped up about 40 times, so it's a little hard for you to really see what I'm actually doing when I'm painting, when watching a speed painting video. Anyway, the comment reminded me that Sarah or Heidi requested this, so here we go. We're going to select the brush tool, and then we're going to select a hard round brush. It doesn't matter what size. This is just an example. As you can see, this is just a hard brush. Nothing's been done to it. Next, select the pressure for opacity as well as for pen pressure. This will allow you to paint using various amounts of pressure with your tablet. If you do not have a tablet, it's still possible to paint in Photoshop, but I don't know how helpful this will be, and I'd highly recommend using one if you have it. We're also going to bring the opacity down a lot. When I'm wanting to blend colors, I usually bring it down to somewhere below 20%. Just fiddle with it as you paint till you find a good percentage that works. Next, hit F5. This will bring up the brush presets window. Bring down the hardness to somewhere around 85%. This will soften the edge of the brush, as you can see. It will make it easier to blend the colors. I'm bringing the opacity down a hair more. Next, select the eyedropper tool. Use this to select different shades of color and go back over those areas with the brush to soften the color and blend it even further. I do this numerous times over different areas, selecting different shades and laying down paint until I achieve a nice soft gradient. Blend, 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 blendy, blendy, blend. Just keep blending and blending and blending. I'm going to use the same technique to shade in some of the scales on this little rat mermaid. And like I said, sometimes I use other brushes to create certain effects and textures, but for a little inked cartoon drawing like this, I would keep it pretty simple. I don't want to get too highly detailed with it. And on another note, yes, I love rats. I have pet rats, and right now they're being blissfully quiet, but a lot of the time you might hear them in the background making noises in my videos. They are very misunderstood little creatures and actually make awesome little pets. Highly recommend. I'm going to show you how I would go about changing the colors a bit on these scales. This is a very simple way to do it. I have selected a soft round brush and set the opacity down very low. As I mentioned before, I sometimes use a soft round brush to add a flush of color. I would use this for a pink flush on skin or just to add some more color interest to the painting. It's sort of like adding a light wash of translucent colored paint over an area. I have created a new layer and set it to color blend mode, and I begin softly adding a wash of color. I thought a bit of purple would look nice and mermaidy, as if some purple light is bouncing off of one side of the scales. I'm now creating a layer which I've named Highlight. You could set this layer to the blend mode screen or color dodge if you like. This is something a lot of people do. However, I don't often do this unless I want a very bright highlight. I prefer to leave the layer default and use contrasting color instead. Using a contrasting color for highlights can give a very nice effect. I'm using a small hard round brush set to a low opacity. And I have brought the hardness of the brush down a bit in the brush presets window. Remember, you can open the brush presets window by hitting F5. I've selected a pale golden color to both sort of complement the green and contrast with the blue hues. I'm just painting around the bottom edge of the scale, concentrating on the tip. And here I was just adding in a few darker areas at the top of the scales. And that's really it. I hope this was helpful and explains a bit how I go about blending colors in my paintings. I change the opacity, pen pressure, and general brush settings around a lot as I work, whatever is needed to get the job done how I want it done. And you really don't need any fancy brushes in order to get a nice blend of color. The default Photoshop brushes are enough. Please subscribe to my channel and give my video a like if it was helpful to you. Thanks for stopping by.